It's your boy Trey TV, and I'm the best one doing reaction videos out right now. And if I ain't your favorite, I need to know why. With this video, we will be doing the deadly war in Camden, active gang versus 51st Street, and I'm doing this video for two reasons. One is because I'll be reacting to music videos on both sides, so I have to do my due diligence to know what's actually going on behind the scenes, so I'm not reacting to these videos. I know what I'm talking about to make it more entertaining to you. And the second reason, because I'm expanding my channel. What I mean by that, I will be reacting to albums, I will be reacting to documentaries, and of course I'm going to keep reacting to music videos. And shout out to everybody that left those ideas in my comment sections. You know who you are. And if you didn't hit the like button, make sure you hit that like button. We're trying to get the channel to grow, and the only way we could do that is by you, yes you, hitting the like, share, and comment on the video. So without further ado, let's get into this deadly war at Camden, active gang versus 51st Street. Let's go! Chi-Chi, get the yeah.
Two men have been stabbed to death in two separate attacks.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those videos. Let me get straight before they started off. People already getting stabbed 4 seconds into this video. Let's get it.
In Kentish Town in North London last night, the body of the first victim, believed to be in his late teens, was found a couple of hours before police discovered the second victim, who's thought to be in his 20s.
Camden, the heart of fashion and culture in London, with some of the most expensive house prices and biggest tourist attractions in England. And from the outside in, looks like the perfect place to live. Well, that's what the government want to show you. Once we go deeper into the lower income estates of the borough, we start to see a different story. A story of the country's most deprived estates in London being separated from roads of millionaires literally by one street, and how these estates have created a deadly gang war which has taken over the borough in recent years. But before I get into the video, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. Let's get into the video.
Let's get it. I think that's crazy how in the UK, just like in the US, like you could be in a nice neighborhood, you could walk a couple of blocks and you would be smack dead in the hood. It's crazy to see that it's set up like that over there, the same way it's set up over here. But it's the reason why I'm doing a documentary, to learn more about what's going on over there, see what's similar, see the differences between the two places.
So Camden is a borough in northwest London and is very close to the centre of London. But despite the area being so close to the rich centre of the capital, in the last few years the war in the area has been going brazy. So historically, unlike neighbouring areas like Islington and Brent, Camden's beef situation hasn't been as active as others. But this all changed around 2016 when a man from Camden called Merce had his watch stolen from another man from another area in Camden. After this, there was some back and forth, which resulted in a big rivalry in the borough, literally between groups of kids that grew up together. One side being gangs built up from a few estates in Camden, which were the Peckwater gang from the Peckwater estate, the QC gang, which were from a road in Camden called Queen's Crescent, and Cumber, which is a gang made up from an estate called Regent's Park in Cumberland Market. They linked up together and called themselves 51st, due to their postcodes being in NW1 and NW5, which is where the 5 and the 1 come from. And from the other side of the feud, we have a gang called Active Gang, which some people may know from their songs, and they're from the Ager Grove estate in Camden.
To me, I hear a lot more about active gang than I hear about 51st Street. I don't really hear too much about 51st Street, but I do see a lot about active gang, and that's crazy. Who's all in 51? Like rap-wise, people I reacted to, didn't react to. As far as the rappers, who are the rappers that's in 51? Can you leave that in the comments for me?
Gang, where some people may know from their songs, and they're from the Ager Grove estate in Camden. An active gang are affiliated with another gang called CT1 and NRB, which they all linked up and called themselves 71st. And just like that, the war was now on between 51st and 71st over this watch being stolen. So Camden,
it's like when I see that bunch of groups clicking up in the UK to merge certain gangs, it's just crazy because that's the same way it happened in Chicago. Like different streets linked up to make this gang, and these cliques will link up to make this gang, and it's crazy. It's the same thing that happened over there with cliques linking up to get bigger forces, bigger numbers, to get their team bigger, and same thing happened over here that happened over there, and that's crazy.
That the war was now on between 51st and 71st over this watch being stolen. So Camden is actually home to a big Somalian community, with a big portion of them residing in Aga Grove, which is the territory of the 71st gang.
I didn't know that, and that's crazy to hear that most of that, a lot of people over there are from Somalia, because I didn't know that, and I never even had a clue about that.
With a big portion of them residing in Aga Grove, which is the territory of the 71st gang. Such a big community that the majority of 71st members are actually Somalian. And if you watch one of my previous videos on Mali Strip, Somalian people are people you don't want to be messing with, which you will understand more in this video. And this beef was on go from early. In 2017, 2 members of the AG gang, which represent 71st, executed a triple shooting on 3 51st members. 2 of the members ran to a nearby hospital, but while hospital staff was treating the 2 members, they also called police to the hospital to investigate the situation. Once the 2 realized the police was called, they didn't even care about their treatment anymore, and attempted to run out of the hospital while still having bullet wounds lodged in them. But the police ended up detaining them, and
now that's crazy that they got shot, heard the police was on their way, and say, yo, forget your treatment, we up out of here. That's crazy. It's really going down in the UK, you heard?
To run out of the hospital while still having bullet wounds lodged in them. But the police ended up detaining them and arresting them after a struggle between the both. The reason they wanted to run was because all 3 members are actually wanted for suspicion of grievous bodily harm, which all 3 were eventually arrested for. Now, of course, 51st...
When I first heard that, the first thing that came to my head was they had warrants out for their arrest. That's the only reason you would want to get up and leave, and that's crazy. I didn't want to say it too early, but he just said that, but that was the first thing that popped in my head. Like, there's really not a reason to leave the hospital when you literally got bullets inside of you, and the only reason you would because you don't want to get locked up. So I understand what happened, and that's crazy.
For suspicion of grievous bodily harm, which all 3 were eventually arrested for. Now, of course, 51st weren't happy about this triple shooting, and they were trying to get it back in blood. So they went lurking on the Aga Grove estate and shot a rival in the face with a shotgun. The rival actually
Yo, that's crazy. They went out the same day that happened and shot somebody in the face, talking about some get back. Like, they didn't even wait a whole 24 hours. Like, that's crazy.
So they went lurking on the Aga Grove estate and shot a rival in the face with a shotgun. The rival actually managed to survive and make his own way back to hospital. But this beef really...
Like, how did he get shot in the face and survive that? That's crazy. He must have said his prayers, because a lot of people, some people get shot in the leg and don't survive that. That's what's up. He got shot in the head and still survived that. That means he's blessed.
Face with a shotgun. The rival actually managed to survive and make his own way back to hospital. But this beef really kicked off in a situation that wasn't even linked to both of the gangs. So on February 2017, a 16-year-old girl had an Airbnb party in Kensington, West London. You know those type of parties where a girl invites 7 different types of gangs and asks people to leave their beef at home? Yeah, one of those. So at this party, there were people from all...
Like, that's really gonna happen. That's how a lot of stuff go down when at house parties. That's why I don't really deal with house parties. You go there, it's not a controlled situation. You don't know who's gonna be there, who's gonna show up, and you might be in the same party as your op, and that's how it goes a lot of time. That's how a lot of violence happen, because 2 ops be in the same party.
Different types of gangs and ask people to leave their beef at home. Yeah, one of those. So at this party, there were people from all over London there, but a few uninvited guests tried to pull up to the party. One of these people being the boy from 51st called Dotty and his friend, who pulled up to the party with a gun and knife looking for trouble. But the night turned left for Dotty and his friend, and ended up with Dotty being chased down by 20 young boys. And when the boys caught up to him, they...
Yo, that's crazy how they say he went there looking for trouble, but trouble found him, and they got the video of him running. Yo, that's crazy. He had a gun and a knife. I don't even know why he's running.
He and his friend, and ended up with Dotty being chased down by 20 young boys. And when the boys caught up to him, they stabbed him 13 times altogether, which actually resulted in Dotty dying, which 4 16-year-old boys from Hackney and Tottenham were sentenced and convicted for. So 51st were mad about the situation, obviously, that their member Dotty was just stabbed to death. So they were out trying to get revenge. So they went out for revenge in a stolen BMW and travelled all the way from Camden in North West London to Hackney in East London, and then to Tottenham in North London, because that's where the people who killed Dotty were from. But they ended up finding no one from both areas. But they weren't trying to go home without spilling some blood first. So 51st went all the way back to Camden to look for 71st members, and found an affiliate member of 71st called AK and killed him. But they weren't done there. They were riding for a whole nother 2 hours looking for more 71st members, and found a 71st member called Mitch's.
Like, I get exactly what they talking about. It's like when a bunch of gang members get together to go get into handle some type of beef. They're not leaving until something's done. They feel like it was a waste of their time. They all got together and everyone's feeling extra, you know, macho because you got a bunch of people with you. So I get that. I seen situations like that, and that's crazy that the same stuff that's happening over there is the same stuff that's happening over here. It's the same exact stories, and that's crazy.
For a whole nother 2 hours looking for more 71st members, and found the 71st member called Mitch's little brother. Mitch's little brother attempted to run into a cab and begged the driver to drive him to safety, but the driver refused to move, and he was dragged out of the cab and stabbed to death by 51st members. All with
I think that's crazy, and that's sad to hear that the cab driver seen this man in a messed up predicament, didn't want to help him out. All you gotta do is just drive him up out of here. I think that's crazy that he did that, because if the situation was turned, if he was him and he was a cab driver, he would want him to do something about it. And that's crazy. He just left him out there to dry like that.
But the driver refused to move, and he was dragged out of the cab and stabbed to death by 51st members. All within 2 hours of their first murder they committed that night. And 6 members were sentenced to life for these murders. Then on September 4th, 2017, a member from 51st called Flips and the older brother of the second boy who died that night called Mitch bumped into each other on Hampstead Road in Camden and started getting into a little altercation, which ended with Flips stabbing Mitch in his arm, neck and back, leaving the knife lodged into Mitch's bones and murdering him. An undercover policeman just happened to witness this whole situation and ran down Phillips and arrested him. And now Phillips is serving 17 years to life for this murder. After this,
that's crazy, and it reminds me of how they say like 10-second bad decision to cost your life. Like, time he did that, he got caught immediately. I don't even understand how that happened. Like, the cops around, you definitely shouldn't be doing nothing like that. And it's kind of pointless to do something and just get locked up right then and there. But I guess it is what it is, you heard?
And ran down Phillips and arrested him. And now Phillips is serving 17 years to life for this murder. After this, the beef in Camden went under some serious investigation by police. And members from all sides started to get taken down for conspiracies, firearms and drug charges. And the beef started to die down a bit. But then 2019 hit, and quite a lot of the members that were locked up started to come out. And taking in consideration that 51st members, just before everyone started going to prison, had killed 3 71st members. 71st members started coming out of prison on some demon time, and were most definitely looking for revenge with no warnings. The first signs that 71st was really back was on a cold Tuesday in February. 1 AM in the morning, a 51st member called Gxng was walking past the Sainsbury's in Camden when a 4x4 crashed into him, and several 71st members jumped out on him like a pack of wolves, stabbing him repeatedly in his head and body, leaving him literally paralysed and not being able to walk. But that wasn't enough for 71st members. They wanted someone dead for their friends. So on April 1st, 2019, a suspected member of 51st called C Miz and his cousin were walking down Grafton Road in Gospel Oak, Camden, when 4 71st members jumped out a stolen black car and started chasing them. C Miz and his cousin split up, but unfortunately the men who jumped out of the car locked on to C Miz, and C Miz ended up...
When I hear how that story went, it reminds me of like Boys in the Hood. That's why it's best to never split up. You know, in Boys in the Hood, if you've seen Boys in the Hood, Ricky, he went one way and the other one went one way. They're supposed to meet back up, but Ricky ended up getting shot before they actually met back up. So it's best, so if you with somebody, just stay with them and just ride it out with them and just take your chances. It's never good to split up.
Miz and his cousin split up, but unfortunately the men who jumped out of the car locked on to C Miz, and C Miz ended up dropping to the ground when the 71st members started to stab him repeatedly with machetes and then run from the scene. After this murder, 71st members made a song called Congo, and the reason why they called it Congo is because C Miz was actually a refugee from Congo after him and his family fled the war from over there. And members repeatedly in their songs say that they get their...
I was gonna say that's disrespectful, but you can't even say that it's like disrespectful because it's going on both sides. I'm pretty sure if they would have caught somebody, they would have made a song about it. So I can't even really say disrespectful. I just think that it's just crazy, just to hear how everything's going on, and it's just crazy over there.
After him and his family fled the war from over there. And members repeatedly in their songs say that they get their weed from Congo, not Cali. Pretty much just trying to say that they're smoking on C Miz. And as I said before, the majority of these 71st members are Somalian. So after all...
It's like I do be hearing a lot of smoking on this op, smoking on that op in the UK music. And I'm now just interested to know, like, where did that start at? Did smoking on the op start over here in the US, or did it start over there? Because I'm just kind of interested to know. It's like crazy.
Smoking on C Miz. And as I said before, the majority of these 71st members are Somalian. So after all this, there was news going about in Camden that 51st members were out on the lurk, and any Somalian they see they're killing.
Heard some really strong intelligence that there is going to be revenge for Calvin's killing, and his friends have literally said they are going to go out and kill any Somali in retaliation. So I just want to make that really clear. This is from a young...
You gotta let the civilians be civilians. You feel what I'm saying? If they didn't sign up for this lifestyle, they shouldn't have nothing to do with it. Just to go mess with random people that had nothing to do with nothing. I don't respect it. I'm not with it. Keep it with whoever the problem is. Let civilians be civilians. That's why they civilians. They didn't sign up for none of this. But if you sign up for it, it is what it is. But if you didn't sign up for it, you shouldn't have nothing to do with it.
Somali in retaliation. So I just want to make that really clear. This is from a young Somali woman in Camden who's 24 years old. And basically we strongly suspect they're going to go out tonight and kill a Somali.
Which is probably a bit of a stretch. But on the other hand, 71st members kept saying that they're warring with Jalirs, which is basically the Somalian word for West African people. Because you have to remember, despite Somalians being dark-skinned and African, a lot of Somalians don't really see themselves the same as other black people. So this was kind of turning into a race war between Somalian and black people in Camden, which is just all wrong for so many reasons. But 71st weren't happy enough with the killing of C. Miz. They wanted to spill more blood. So August 12, 2019, 6 members started circling the estates of 51st members in a stolen Ford Fiesta and a stolen Seat. When they spotted 16-year-old culprit and other members coming out of a restaurant around 10:30 p.m. Culprit and other members ran to a nearby set of blocks near Euston Road. But 71st members found them later on that night, and 3 members jumped out and chased them down, catching up to the 16-year-old 51st member called Culprit. Culprit was running for...
Just to hear the age of like 16-year-olds, same thing that's going over here is really the young kids that's dying. You be hearing some of the ages 12, 14, 16. It's kind of crazy. People haven't experienced their lives yet, didn't live, really haven't been with a female, haven't been able to raise a family. So, man, it's crazy.
Talents chased them down, catching up to the 16-year-old 51st member called Culprit. Culprit was running for his life and literally screaming for help, banging on neighbours' doors to let him in, so he could escape his attackers. But when the 71st members caught up to him, 2 71st members held him, while a 3rd member repeatedly pushed a 1-foot-long zombie killing knife through his chest, while it was coming out of his back. And when the 71st members were done, the killers were said to be running away after, laughing hysterically, which is what bystanders said. And Culprit, he was just any normal kid from London. He was talented at football, and even had trials for Southampton Football Club, but started getting involved in a local gang and brushed aside his football, and unfortunately became a victim of the streets. Now, as these back and forths normally go, 51st were now looking for revenge on their recent L's, and there were many stabbings across the month. And early on in September, there was a case of 3 killings in 5 days in Camden. One of these being a man from a completely different area all the way in East London, but unfortunately he was walking at the wrong place at the wrong time. So he was actually...
That's how it happens sometimes. It's just wrong place, wrong time. It don't got nothing to do with you. Mistaken identity. It's just how it happens sometimes, and it's sad to hear that.
All the way in East London, but unfortunately he was walking at the wrong place at the wrong time. So he was actually walking on Queen's Crescent Estate, which is a hotspot for 51st members, and was shot and killed in a drive-by, being mistaken for a 51st member. Just an hour before, another woman was stabbed to death just a few hundred yards from the situation, and 4 days later a 71st member...
Dang, the females is getting it too? I didn't know the females was getting it as well. That's crazy. Not discriminating. Okay.
A woman was stabbed to death just a few hundred yards from the situation, and 4 days later a 71st member called Nuts was stabbed to death by a gang of 51st members with machetes outside one of the busiest areas in London, Camden Tube Station. And for the longest, a lot of people didn't even know all this stuff was going on until a 71st member called Suspect started jumping on the drill scene, calling himself the Camden Grim Reaper, and releasing some of the most disrespectful tunes towards his ops. So much that police take down pretty much any song that the gang uploads, which really started to bring some attention to what's happening down there, and definitely got the attention of me.
That's crazy. You gotta be putting in a lot of work with it. Time you put your music up, that they take it down. I also heard about somebody getting a strike on a YouTube channel for playing, like when they posted their music reacting to it, they got a strike on the channel. So I thought that was crazy. Now I really understand why it's getting more into this, and like I don't like what's going on in London, but this is a okay documentary. Whoever put this together, they definitely did a good job.
Uploads, which really started to bring some attention to what's happening down there, and definitely got the attention of me, especially a song from Suspect called Dugout, which is probably one of the most disrespectful songs I've ever heard, and really makes you deep how tapped this whole beef is. In one of his lines, he says,
"Same place we used to play runouts, is the same place his chest got dug out. Same place I was telling you play out, is the same place I'm telling you come out."
Which really makes you think, damn, these guys were close friends.
I ain't gonna hold you. The song was alright. song, the beat, everything.
Same place we used to play runouts, is the same place his chest got dug out. Same place I was telling you play out, is the same place I'm telling you come out.
Which really makes you think, damn, these guys were close friends at one time, and now they're trying to kill each other. All stemming from a little small altercation that happened a couple years back. But anyway guys, that's it for today's video, and peace out.
I mean, no matter where it started from, when it's up, it's up. Like, most wars, most beefs started with the stupidest, most pettiest stuff, and it goes on so long. After a while, people don't even remember why it started. They just know it started, and they just holding down their side.
A little small altercation that happened a couple years back. But anyway guys, that's it for today's video, and peace out.
Straight TV, you know we got the streets. Let's get it.